We're back for another great panel. We have a huge lineup of fantastic people here today. Our topic for this baraza is disrupting self-hate, racism, tribalism through Web3. And what I would like is for each of my guests to do a quick, maybe 2 minute, no more than 2 minute introduction of themselves, and then we'll hop right into the topic. We'll start with Dr. Tyreen Wright, then go to Pascal Atazama, then to Michael Abraham, and then to Kevin, and then to Robbie.
I was asking actually if I could go second to last. You didn't see me in the chat there.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, that's perfectly fine. So we'll have Robbie go last, and then that that's fine. You can start the introductions. So second was I believe Pascal. So Pascal, you're gonna go
Oh,
first?
yeah. Okay, perfect. I can go ahead. Hello, my name is Pascal. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cancer Finance. And basically, we're building financial products leveraging Web3 technology and also traditional financial infrastructures. But we are quickly become a venture studio with several solutions across decentralized storage, DeFi solutions, and TradFi solutions as well. And yeah, so I mean, my background is pretty much in engineering, but I've dabbled across multiple different fields. I've been in the space for about, I would say, 4 years now, and really excited to be here, I think for the third or fourth time, and I look forward to participating in the conversation. Thank you.
Kevin, I believe.
So we're up to me. Very good. Dr. Kevin Washington, also known as Mwata Kairi. I'm an African-centered psychologist engaged in the process of understanding the human psyche from an African-centered perspective. And so we look at the dynamics of trauma on the psyche of people of African descent, whether it is in the on the continent of Africa or throughout the African diaspora. The fundamental reality that we operate from is that we must engage in therapeutic healing techniques that involve the psyche, the essence of our people, and not utilize alien constructs to realign ourselves with our divine purpose. And so I'm the former chair of psychology and sociology at Grambling State University, and I'm also the CEO and founder of an organization, well, Roots Africa, but also an organization known as NANSAPO, which deals with the development of therapeutic techniques called Ubuntu psychotherapy. And Roots Africa, we take people to the continent of Africa, actually to make the fundamental connections in the Gambia with the divine essence of who they are, but also talk about economic development and growth. So we challenge the notions of tribalism in the countries, even the diasporan tribalism. And we look at economic growth and development for ourselves here in the US as well as on the continent. And so that is a major form of our work, is to be able to make the connections between us and the Africans on the continent for economic liberation.
Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Ibraham. I am the NFT lead with the Tigray Art Collective. I'm working on an NFT mixed media project, attempting to bridge the gap and fundraise money for an active civil war conflict happening in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. We are mixed media artists, so not just digital, but also physical printed artist. I'm a technologist myself. I have a background in product management and also business development in the Web3 space.
Robbie.
Hey everyone, my name is Robbie Greenfield, CEO and co-founder of Umoja Labs. My background, been in the blockchain space since 2011, started with Bitcoin scripting, later became the head of social impact at Consensus, where we deployed blockchain-based products across around 17 emerging markets, and now focus on building crypto-enabled payments infrastructure purpose-built for informal markets, specifically targeting the aid sector and agribusiness sectors across Eastern Africa.
And Dr. Wright.
wherever you all are. My name is Dr. Tyreen Wright. I'm a historian in political sciences. I teach with the City University of New York, author of the book Booker T. Washington in Africa, Thinking of a Pan-Africanist. And I also actually work for I Love Black People. I teach the Pan-African history and organizing course for our ambassadors internationally. And if you know, I Love Black People, it's everywhere. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. As I promised, a very stellar, a very diverse panel for this discussion of disrupting self-hatred and racism and tribalism through Web3. I think the first question I have, and I'd like each of you to at least take a minute to answer the question, is how do you define Web3? And then when the context of this definition of what Web3 is, what do you foresee as some of the problems that we need to avoid? And by that, let me couch that in. We know that we long ago had Black Planet. It kind of de-evolved. We're currently in other mainstream social media, and we see the attacks within group and out of group. So as we're stepping into this new zone of Web3, and you've defined this Web3, how do we take the past knowledge and prevent this type of self-destructive, potential self-destructive outcome? So I'd let Michael go first.
So to kind of go into it, when me as an African living here in the US, there are many distinctions that you kind of experience. And also being in technology, there's also various barriers that we kind of experience when it comes to access, when it comes to education, when it comes to kind of, barriers with languages and things like that. So I really do believe that amongst all these different barriers, when it comes to, the rich ethnic diversity that we have on the continent also has a heavy impact on providing access to these things. So, in various situations, when it comes to particularly, in the situation that I'm promoting and actively speaking on, ethnic tribalism is a part of our nature, is part of our history historically, and we see those things trickle down into our society in our day-to-day, and we can use technology to improve and kind of provide resources to those that are being affected and aid, but at the same time, sometimes technology also is an extension of these things that can harm people, right? Whether it's hate speech online, whether it's various methods of government organizations creating barriers against their own people. There's so many methods of how we can tackle issues such as that question.
Fantastic. Robbie?
Yeah, I would define Web3 as, when consumers and businesses interface with, decentralized systems rather than centralized enterprises more broadly. Like that's the kind of, UX shift in terms of the who is providing certain services. I think more broadly in terms of what should be avoided is, those systems, you need to have the right parameters and models to ensure equity and to ensure that you're not exposing vulnerable populations to unreasonable risk. I mean, that's the biggest thing, especially when it comes to financial services, because what we're seeing right now, more broadly, I think this is one of the reasons why crypto winter is happening outside of, the broader economic downturn, in traditional economy, is that a lot of the protocols that exist don't seek to be used pragmatically. Like if we look at lending protocols like Aave and Compound, nobody's using those protocols to take out real loans, right? You need 80% collateral. You could just wait another month and save the 20%. And so the primary use of a lot of these protocols right now is for yield rather than pragmatism. And that exposes people to a lot of risk because there's more speculative rather than, looking into the utility of something. And so I think those are things that we need to avoid, but it's also an opportunity, right? Because it shows that there's still a new generation of protocols and dApps that need to exist to provide that pragmatism that doesn't currently exist, with the yield-based models that we see today.
Pascal.
Yeah, similar to Robbie, I would say Web3, I think, is the next evolution of, I guess, service interaction over the internet. And I would say what we can do to kind of avoid basically some malpractices making its way into Web3 is by getting involved across the board. I think there's kind of a limitation. I think with the internet, right? For example, there was just weren't as involved from infrastructure standpoint, innovation standpoint, and in some instances, a consumption standpoint, right? There were massive amounts of people that, especially in emerging markets in the African continent, that cannot access the internet. So I think with Web3, the way we kind of like avoid this and make sure that the bias doesn't impact us as much is by building and also consuming what we build, right? And I agree to what Robbie said, doing so in a manner where we're tying that around real use cases and real value creation for people.
Okay. Just for clarity's sake, that we also want to talk